Burnham's first week in office. Wow, what a week. What a week. Burnham's big priorities, what are they? Well, we are finding out quite quickly, aren't we, what they are, but there's not a lot of meat on the bone. Not a lot of meat on the bone. So council houses, he's mentioned this a lot. So council houses have taken a hell of a hit over the last 20, 30 years. Thatcher sold them all off and all the rest of it. She gets blamed for everything with your support Labour, doesn't she? Anyway, so what's the score? Well, last year, the country built 1,700 council houses. Now, Andy Burnham wants to get up to 14,000 a year, which still isn't many, is it really, when you think about it? Goodness me. And social housing, which is supported by the housing associations, of course, they built around 14,000. So they want to get up to 40 or 50,000 a year. That's the target. So it's going to be tough. The 39 billion that Andy's talking about, by the way, to fund this has already been presented to the housing associations back in April, and the first 4.9 billion of that money is being drawn down shortly. So that's not new funding, that's the existing funding over 10 years. Is that enough? Well, nowhere near enough, Andy. 300,000 houses a year you would have to build in social and council houses to get up to the level we need. We've got 1.3 million people on the housing waiting list. So that is nowhere near enough. Can you do it? I'm afraid the answer is probably no, but we need more information from you. I've given you more stats and information that Andy's given the country so far. So Andy's proposing a 0.48% charge on the value of a home every year. Property tax reform is to replace council tax, but also stamp duty as well. Now, 0.48% is what is being proposed currently. I just don't think that's enough, and I'll explain why. A house in the northeast with an average house price of 168,000 would pay about £780 rates. A house in the southeast worth 385,000 on average would pay £1,800 a year. Well, they're paying more than that now, so I can't see how that stacks up. Currently, council rates brings in about 44 billion. Well, my reckoning, this brings in the same, but that is meant to include the stamp duty, which is around 14 billion. So to me, his figures are way out of what is required. It might be fairer, I understand that, to level it up throughout the country, but the figures he's talking about are not enough. Now, if you said it was 1%, that would put the cat amongst the pigeons. I do understand that, because I had £2 million house then, it would be 20,000 a year council tax. So, but that's probably what it needs to be, in my opinion, to make this system work and to get rid of stamp duty forever. The other issue is this: there's 19 million homes which are owned in the UK, but there are 29 million households. So what happens in terms of the council rates for those other 10 million homes that are owned by the council and social housing? So who's going to be paying the rates on those properties to cover the stamp duty as well? Is it going to be the landlords? Is it going to be the council? Is it going to be the housing associations? I think it's all a bit muddled, Andy, at the moment, and I think you've rushed this policy out. Draft policy, although it might be, but I think the figures don't stack up. I think you need to be charging a lot more if this is what you want to do. Let's find out what happens in the end.